When it comes to traveling the states, Utah is probably one of the most haunted, demonic, and terrifying places to be. And I'm not just talking about the ghosts. Question for y'all, what's your opinion on it? Let me know in the comments and let's see why you should never visit for fear of never coming back. Oh, you wanna know? Okay. Cattle mutilations, mysterious lights and shapes in the sky, wolf-like creatures disappearing into the night, mysterious equipment failures, unknown illnesses, crop circles, disembodied voices, and more. Now this 500 acres of isolated land is located between Ballard and Vernal, and the Sherman family acquired the ranch in the 1990s, but old myths of S-walkers, and which are witches with the ability to shapeshift into various animals, have haunted the region for centuries. Now, before the Sherman family inhabited the ranch, the spot was known as UFO Alley, and the news reported in 1978 that nearby residents had spotted a dome-shaped UFO over the ranch that was surrounded by a glowing green light. And the supernatural activity did not end when a family moved in. They reported doorways of light vanishing in midair, cattle that went poof, animals mutilated, crop circles. I know I'm repeating myself, folks, but it's bonkers. Also, invisible objects emitting destructive magnetic fields? Where the heck does that come from? Now, while investigating the disappearance of cattle, one man reportedly saw a large beast, like a wolf, but much bigger, harassing other cattle. Now, he was like, okay, I got a little firearm, let's get kapow. So the target landed, but the creature didn't slow down, seemed unscathed, and I'm gonna tell you right now, animals don't do that. So yes, you might be asking, okay Alexa, but what about disappearing nowadays? We're not cattle, we're human. Well, there's also the infamous hitchhiker effect, where visitors feel the effects of the ranch long after they've left. And whether it takes the form of strange phenomena or just an unshakable eeriness, the ranch seems to have some serious staying power. Theories range: ancient curses, geological forces, and good old-fashioned alien activity. The jury's still out and might never deliver a verdict, but one thing's for sure, trips to the ranch will lead to some serious spooking. Outsiders are not currently allowed on the property, but don't worry, there are plenty of neighbors in the area that have reported their fair share of strangeness. I wouldn't recommend trying to sneak onto the property, because folks who do don't really come back from it. Every ghost town is a safe bet to give you the spooks, and Utah sure has a lot of them, but I think Winter Quarters has an eerier past than others. One that might still be reverberating to the present. In 1900, now this place is located just out of Schofield Reservoir State Park, and it was a bustling mining town. Then disaster struck when an explosion in the mine, which was supposedly the safest in the state, resulted in the deaths of 225 men. And at the time, yeah, it was the worst mining disaster ever in the States. It's hard for anybody to go back to work after that, but these guys had more problems than most. Number one, well, we've got the ghost of a headless miner just wandering around, hanging out. The guys that were working in the mine saw that and were like, yeah, I'm not working one more second in here unless this thing gets out of here. So the existence of the ghost, well, it kind of blew up, and it was soon identified as the spirit of Sandy McGovern, a miner whose body was the last to be taken out of the fatal pit after the explosion. So everybody was like, okay, where's the body? Let's put this to end. You wanna know how bad this got? Almost 50 men quit because of the ghost. 500 miners went on strike. What else? Oh, that's not the end of it, folks. Mysterious blue lights in the cemetery, strange noises in the depths. Now the mine has long since closed, but remnants of the town still stand, and mining technology sure has advanced a lot since then, but the ghosts are resurfacing. Look folks, I grew up in a gold mining town, and if I know anything about hanging around abandoned mines, you're risking your life. I wouldn't recommend it. You don't want to go poof. The Great Saltair is an old music venue that is reported to be haunted by a couple of very hostile ghosts. Even Ghost Adventures visited there in 2021 to film The Great Saltair Curse. The show claims the building and land around the resort is plagued by hostile paranormal energy, including the haunting presence of Saltair Sally, a woman found dead on the property who seems to be pretty violent and causes physical pain to visitors. People also report hearing voices and seeing a lot of other ghostly unknowns roaming about. An employee says that usually between 1 or 2 bodies per year are found in the general area. So sure, maybe not going poof, but life going poof? And sure, the original resort thrived on that land for 32 years, at least until the first fire in 1925, but nowadays not so much. Guests are literally told, nothing seems to thrive here. So when the TV show visited the area, one of the crew members went off on his own to investigate the edge of the lake, and as he was setting up his equipment, he heard this crazy loud splash where the largest living creature is like a little tiny shrimp. So it freaked him out because he's like, there's nothing out there. Now, it's hard to describe what he saw, but he saw something in that water, and it was terrifying. Relics of the age of the Great Salt Lake resorts are nearby, and can be seen from the highway. And until most recently, the most notable of these was the skeleton of a car 502, which is one of Salt Lake's interurban rail cars that sat beside the ruins of an old powerhouse, which once fed lights and roller coasters at the entrance to the original fair. The rail car was removed in 2012 by the property owner because, well, safety concerns. People kept getting hurt and going missing. Rows of piling snake outwards towards the lake, all that remains of the railway trestle and the pier that once led to the resort. The surviving buildings of Lake Park, one of the neighbors, were moved to a new site 30 miles away, where the Lagoon Amusement Park has grown around them. Now, the Salt Lake, Garfield, and Western still exists as a common carrier shortline railroad, providing switching service in this area. However, the tracks no longer reach the resort itself, and I'd recommend against exploring. In 2022, the Kingston Group was on the receiving end of a lawsuit from former members that alleged years of unpaid labor, people outsourcing, and icky non-consensual intercourse stuff. If I sound like a Looney Tune, there's things I can't say. The Sex X members claim that it's largely through illegal marriage practices that the group is able to unlawfully make girls and their offspring religious martyrs and outsource them for intercourse and labor purposes, and overall make them disappear. None of the plaintiffs claim that the Kingston Group made them begin working during their early school days, through their pre-college years, and never received a paycheck. One complainant, Amanda Ray Grant, claimed she was assigned to work in her high school years at Advanced Copy, where wedding announcements and invitations were printed because wedding pictures of, well, icky marriages or plural marriages, well, you can't get those printed at Walmart. Well, the Kingston Group, which was founded in 1935, is not affiliated with the infamous FLDS. Members practice a fundamentalist version of Mormonism that involves multiple marriages. Members are primarily born into the organization, and they have a leader, Paul Eldon Kingston, known as the Man in the Watchtower. But you can also get recruited in or just stolen. The lawsuit explains how the birth certificates of multiple plaintiffs fail to list their biological fathers, so those men could escape the legal consequences inherent to having multiple, often too young, wives. And two of the plaintiffs share the same father, Jesse Orville Kingston. The suit alleges Kingston family members try to preserve their lineage purity by marrying and procreating with other Kingstons. Now, Jesse is not listed on either birth certificate, according to the lawsuit, which additionally accuses him of fathering more than 300 offspring with 14 wives. The Kingston Group argued that it is the parents' prerogative to file birth records for their spawn how they choose within the bounds of the law, saying in the statement that it's especially true of a mother who has the legal right to establish paternity or not at the time of filing. Now, the statement said, "We don't have any specific guidance for members pertaining to birth certificates, medical records, but we tell everybody to follow the law." Yeah, I'm Colin Bull. Anybody else? And finally for today, ever hear about the creatures of Utah Lake? Allegedly around 14 feet deep, the lake has been home to many a mysterious drowning or disappearance over the years, with numerous planes and boats rumored to be littering its depths. The creature of Utah's Bear Lake is the most well-known of the local unknown water cryptids. The local surrounding Native American tribes, Shoshone, Ute, and Bannock, were the first to speak about this creature. It was described as a giant serpent or dragon-like beast that would capture and carry away any and all that dare swim in the lake. So, disappearing. For example, in the early 1860s, Mormon settlers began to see these creatures. Somebody claimed to have seen something akin to a downed carcass just floating in the water. It had cluster-like ears the size of teacups, and it could spurt geysers of water from its nose. Now he's like, okay, this thing's gotta be so big, because it didn't drift to the shore, so its legs must have been embedded in the muddy-like bottom of the lake. Most of the sightings of this creature describe it as a kind of dragon or freakish alligator-like beast. In the year 2000, James Chase noticed something strange swimming in the lake near Pelican Point, and it was around 40 yards from where he was. He was like, this is something, it was a little bit larger than a barrel drum in width, and it surfaced like a whale and then submerged again. Apparently it was shimmering silver in color with large yellow stripes running vertically along its midsection. Now, James was a Hawaiian transplant, and he's seen a lot of different things in the ocean, but nothing like this. Also, there's a couple of other things. There's water babies. Look, I can't say the name. Apparently there's something to fear. They're kind of known as water kelpies, merfolk. And the local ones, well, they're a fairy water species, which is not good. Fairies are things that can be dangerous if you disregard or disrespect. So, turns out when you're walking by the shore, you hear distant crying. Sounds pretty young? Yeah, that's what you hear. So don't approach them or else you're going to disappear. Because if you only hear them, you're good. But if you see it, it's too late for you. Many a boater has come upon what looks like floating reeds or lakeweed. But in actuality, it's the hair of this little creature floating at the surface, and just below it, this little thing is waiting for you to fall into their trap. And that's it from me once again, folks. I've been Alexa, the resident ookie spooky girly. See y'all next time, you lovely spooky people.